Thinking about moving to Westlake, Ohio? Don't get stuck buying in the wrong area. Or even worse, spending 45 minutes stuck in traffic because there's a better route that nobody told you about. In this map tour, I'm gonna be showing you a commute hack, some local hotspots, and some property values, taking a look at the streets in different areas. So sit back, relax, let's take a ride on this digital tour of Westlake, Ohio. What's up guys, Anthony Esposito with eXp Realty, your local real estate expert right here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And if you are looking to relocate to this area, I have a guide I'm happy to give to you. Just drop a comment down below and just say relocation guide. If you're looking to buy or sell in the area, I'm happy to help you out. I have people just like you contacting me every single week. You can contact me directly here or go in the description below. Use one of the links that I have listed there. So let's hop over to the computer and start checking out Westlake, Ohio. All right, to start, I got the map zoomed out a little bit for you so you can see the outline right here of what Westlake is. You got Bay Village to the north, Rocky River to the east, Avon Lake area to the west, North Olmsted to the south, and here, as we see over in the corner, here is Cleveland. So let's zoom in. Now I want to point out your main way into Cleveland is I-90 right here, and it runs all the way. And as you see, it keeps going, and then it bumps into the 71 area. There's a couple other splits. You can take 10, like there's a few different ways around it, but I-90 is going to be your main drive into Cleveland area, which is about like a 25 to 35 minute commute, somewhere in there. Keep in mind though that I-90 gets packed. It is a lot of traffic. I got to tell you, just about every single morning, somewhere along I-90, it may not be in this area, it could be east of Cleveland, but typically there's always an accident somewhere on I-90 for some reason. It's the nature of the beast. So it does get a little bit congested. It's not, one of those like 8-lane style highways by any means, in one direction, but it does get a little congested. And when the snow starts flying, you could potentially add 20 to 30 minutes onto your drive time for just getting from like Westlake to the Cleveland area. Now, as we go in, you can beat the traffic. There's ways around it to try and get out of the area. A couple ways around is you're going to end up taking Crocker Road. This is an area you can bypass 90, shoot up into Bassett. You can go to 6 if you want to. There's a means instead of going down Detroit Road, because this right here, as you see, that's the main on-ramp right there is at Crocker. The other one is at Columbia. They're going to get a little congested is what is going to happen. There are a couple ways around it. You can see here is another vantage point, which as we zoom in, there's Clegg. That's a way to kind of avoid some of the traffic, which, you got Detroit that runs into it. There's Hilliard. There's different routes to take, and that's some of the commute hacks that I wanted to talk about, because a lot of people, they plow into Columbia and they come plowing over into Crocker. Crocker gets absolutely packed, which I will show you why in just a moment here. So you got to really think before you purchase in Westlake. You got to think to yourself, how often are you going to be driving into Cleveland? Because it's that commute gets annoying. 25, 30 minute drive into, Cleveland itself, the main city. That's not a terrible drive, but you start throwing in the traffic, accidents. When the snow starts flying, it tends to turn into a headache. And even when you're coming home, it's going to be a complete headache. But there's ways around it. You know, like I said, you got 20 right here where you could split up and you can kind of bypass 90. There's different ways. So they do have you covered there. Now, I want to swing over to Crocker Park because I did mention it. And this is a huge, huge area that Westlake has. And we're talking, it's got entertainment, it's got restaurants, it has movie theater. There is so much to do. There's, you know, rooftop bars. You know, and it's an area that it's kind of hard to believe that it is in like a suburban city. But as you see, you know, Cheesecake Factory is sitting in there. Blue Sushi Sake Grill. You got Carhartt for anybody who loves Carhartt, or, you know, blue collar. I used to be an electrician, so I know how that clothing goes. You have, you know, there's Market District for your grocery store that is in that vicinity. There's the Regal at Crocker Park. There is a lot. You have Coach. You have Rorby Parker. Lululemon. If I pronounced it wrong, ladies, I'm sorry. There's Lens Crafters. You know, there is a trampoline and adventure park. There is so much that is going on just in this little vicinity, and it's really cool. I'm gonna take a guy here and I'm gonna put you, we're gonna go into like the heart of it basically, and I'll just kind of show you the area. It is a bunch, it's set up like a bunch of shops. You can walk a lot of it. They have parking around. You just got to be careful going through because there's always a ton of people that are in the area. But it's just all around just a beautiful little section that is home to Westlake. And it brings in a lot of, you know, Barnes & Noble. It brings in a lot of people from surrounding cities. Even me being, you know, in the Brunswick, Medina area, you know, I would go up into this area. But that's just kind of like, you know, the views of it if it wants to go. You know, like I said, you got so much stuff just sitting around. You know, there's a Nathan's hot dog stand. So you could just make a day of it, of just walk around, go shopping, go check out some stores if there's not a lot going on, you know, catch a movie. And I'm glad it brought us to here because I'm Italian. I am very picky with my food. Leo's, if you get a chance to go there, their chicken fettuccine Alfredo, you'll thank me later for trying it out. It is delicious. Great spot right there for a restaurant. And they got tons of other excellent restaurants in the area itself. Now, as we zoom out just a little bit, not like too much, but just a little bit. I wanted to show you kind of how like the neighborhood is laid out. So these are all the side streets running through because, you know, as you can see, let me zoom out even further. Westlake's large, but it's not like gigantic. There's definitely other bigger cities that are suburb to Cleveland. But, you know, I just kind of wanted to show you the layout of stuff. You know, the southern point over here, you do have a nice Metro Park area. Bunnings Lake Wildlife area is sitting right there. And then as we go up, here's the country club. So if that is something you're looking for, Lakewood Country Club is sitting right there, just on like the furthest west point almost of Westlake area. And then there is Clegg Park. I gotta mention Clegg Park because this is a hotspot park in Northeast Ohio. A lot of people know of Clegg Park itself, but they have a ton of different amenities in the area. I'll just go and show you. They got some hiking. It is wheelchair accessible, baseball fields, picnic tables, slides, swings, public restrooms, tennis court, barbecue grill, good for kids, kid-friendly hikes, playground, kids' birthdays go on. You got dogs that are allowed. So all in all, you know, great place, even an outdoor pool. So if you don't have a pool, They have an outdoor pool. There's lake. Now you know why a lot of people tend to go to Westlake Park itself. Now, as we look at some of the homes, so as I mentioned earlier, here's Detroit Road. It's 254, kind of like a main area. And then going into some of the areas that are just off of Detroit Road. You know, you can see a couple different homes that are going to be ranging in this vicinity. It could be, you know, $300,000 to $400,000. There's a wide range throughout Westlake. It's not all. A lot of people in the area, they think Westlake and they automatically think that it's super expensive to live here. It's pricey. It is pricey, but as far as like the housing price goes, the housing cost, the values range greatly. You can find $300,000 homes to over $1 million, which we're gonna show you some of the areas. Oh, there's a lady walking her dog. So that's some of the homes that are in that vicinity of Detroit Road. You know, and as we go a little bit further, let's go check over here on Allen Drive. You know, and here's some of your older brick style ranches. So this is going to be like your $300,000 range, $400,000 range. So the more affordable, the more cost friendly neighborhoods of Westlake itself. But you can see it's still a beautiful neighborhood. You know, just going right down Allen Drive, you're going to find ranches, you're going to find splits, you're going to find colonials. And then as we go down a little bit off of like the Hilliard Boulevard area, another main road that runs through here. You know, as you can see, there's not like as many side streets that are off over from Hilliard area. But again, you know, you're going to see more ranch homes in this split. I'll take you into a different section of Hilliard, but you know, just so you get a good look at the neighborhood that you can potentially be moving to if you so desire. As we go, we'll go down here on the Salem Parkway, because you're going to get into other areas where, you know, you're starting to get into a little bit higher price points, not like really high price points, but you could be seeing more consistent into the 400s, you know, as you make your way closer to like the Crocker Park area, essentially. Let's just wrap around here. So more splits, you know, there's quite a few splits, ranches. It's just that age of the neighborhood itself. Back up just a little bit. We're gonna go right over in this area now where Holden's Arbor is at. So yeah, now you're gonna get into a little bit bigger colonial that you'll run into. Keeps blurring stuff out that's not really helping. So there's some of the larger colonials. These are going to be more so around like that $500,000 range is what you're going to see getting into this neighborhood. And we're just going to keep going around the bend a little bit so you can kind of get a good view here, because there's a lot of tree cover. But, you know, this is what, you know, it starts to turn into. Like I said, there's so many different neighborhood styles throughout Westlake, which makes it really nice. And then as we get closer over into Crocker Park area, no, I don't want that. Get off of Carhart. So we're going to zoom down and we're going to go over into like Hickory, Juniper, this vicinity. So this is right off, like you could pretty much ride your bike if you wanted to, right to Crocker Park off of this area. And this is going to be excuse me, is going to be more of like condo setups, and these can vary. There's some that might be, 400,000. There's some that might be 500 some thousand, 600 some thousand. Not necessarily in this like particular neighborhood, but it's all because you're so close to Crocker Park. You're going to pay for the amenities. Just like anywhere else that is out there, you're always going to have to pay. And then I do want to point out, some of the other areas that, you're getting into off of like Bradley area. This is typically, get this under control here. This is a pretty highly sought area, is Barclay, and then over off of Bradley vicinity. And it's simply because of the location is what it is. It's very close to the highway. It's not far from Crocker Park. These are some of your larger colonials, as you can see going through. You do get some good land with it, but you're starting to get into highly sought after areas of Westlake itself. There's another picture, great landscaping done. It's all well maintained. And what you're going to find is there's going to be a lot of HOAs. Don't get scared because of them. Some of them, yes, they can be pretty strict and a little ridiculous, but there are a lot of HOAs that really aren't all that bad in the grand scheme of things. Now, as we get over into this vicinity is what I wanted to show you, because if you are looking for your high-end homes that are out there, this is going to be the area where you're going to be in. Land's End, Silver Ridge, you're going to see Waterfall way down here, Hunters Creek, all of these homes in here. This is going to be luxury living at its finest. And one of the more expensive homes, they sold on Land's End, which, as you can see why, as we dump in front of that one right there. And we're talking, a few $1 million is price point on this road. And it could vary. But one of the recent ones, it was a few million of what it ended up selling for. So it can get pricey in Westlake, but Land's End, that's going to be more of those higher end, the higher amount of the luxury homes that are in Westlake, and rightfully so. These are beautiful, large homes, and the location of it is what really sells everything with it. Now, some of the other areas, if we go and let's just look down here, and we're going to go to Waterfall. And here are the homes of what they look like, in Waterfall. These are your newer homes. These are all your $1 million homes is what's happening in this vicinity. You're going to see some that are a little bit less than $1 million, but plan on your higher price points throughout, the whole neighborhoods in this area with Waterfall, with Land's End. I'll show you a couple other streets, but just to give you an idea of what the neighborhood looks like, especially if you are watching this from a different state and you're trying to find a place to move to for a Cleveland suburb. This is what you're getting when you're moving into this neighborhood and the other one if you are at this price point. But this whole area, it's right off of Bradley. There's Doral Lane, Riviera, and it goes all into, Hunters Creek. You got Forest Lake. You got Waterfall Way. It's all your more expensive homes throughout, Westlake. It's like, just west of Lakewood Country Club. is gonna be your luxury homes that are all sitting in here. And again, it ranges. There's 300 some $1,000 homes in Westlake. There's, you know, $2-3 million homes that are in Westlake. Whether you're buying, selling, or relocating to Westlake or some of the neighboring cities in the area, this tour is just the beginning. If you want help navigating this area, or you just want to make sure that you're not going to overpay for a property that is out there, you can contact me directly here or go in the description below. Use one of the links that I have listed there. I have people just like you that are doing the same thing, and they reach out to me every single week. So I would be happy to help you out as well. If you enjoyed the map tour, be sure to smash the like button. It's greatly appreciated. And if you're new to my channel or you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe, turn notifications on so you can stay up to date on future videos I got coming your way.